Hi everyone, so this is Tesalita Desai and I'm going to discuss with you how to use the data analysis function of Microsoft Excel. So by the way, this um, feature is only available for Microsoft Office 2010 and above. So here in the Philippines, we have a subject called Practical Research 2. It is a research wherein you will apply quantitative research designs or quantitative research methods. The problem with this is that the curriculum for probability and statistics, which is the prerequisite of practical research 2, isn't covering some of the important matters that practical research 2 students need to know. For example, statistics 101 or the basic descriptive statistics are not yet discussed. So for today's video, I'm going to share with you my knowledge about the functions of Excel when it comes to data analysis. By the way, if you haven't looked for the data analysis part, so it should appear here in this part. But if your Microsoft Excels haven't have this feature yet, you can check it by clicking File. Then for File, you just click Options. And for Options there, you click Add-ins. And for Add-ins, you look for Analysis Toolpack. Then you just click Go. And you just check Analysis Toolpack or anything that you need. For this video, we just need Analysis Toolpack. And just click OK, and it should appear here. So I already have the function before, so that's why I already have this one. Okay, so I have here a set of data wherein we have respondents. So I have 25 respondents, and I ask for their ages, and I have asked for their sex and their grade score. So by the way, this is a simple activity I gave my students during our first meeting about statistical treatment. So I wanted them to explore real time data. That's why I gave them a survey and I asked them of their ages, their sex, and grade score. By the way, when I say grade score, it actually came from a grade scale by Duckworth 2009, an 8-question scale that measures grit. So when we say grit, it is the ability of a person to pursue long-term goals. So I ask my students to answer those problems. Okay, so those questions rather. It's not a problem. Those are questions. Now we are going to apply descriptive statistics. So when we say descriptive statistics, it is also a branch of statistics, and it covers the factors that describe your population or your sample. So descriptive statistics is actually given. The most common descriptive statistics that you are very familiar of will be the mean, median, mode, which are called measure of central tendency, and measure of variability holds standard deviation, range, and variance. So for today, you are going to learn how to use the Excel. Actually, you can learn how to compute them manually, but since practical research 2 isn't requiring computation in paper, I think I just require my students to compute, then interpret it correctly, because for me, computation is equally equivalent to your interpretation, because these numbers hold very important interpretation for your data. Okay, so to illustrate that, this is a very simple video. So you just click on data analysis. By the way, I have 25 responses, right? So I will teach you how to use the data analysis. At the same time, some of the functions that you can use for if ever that you forgot how to use the data analysis, you can actually remember some of the functions that you can use in determining the mean, the median, the mode, and standard deviation. Okay, so let's go with data analysis. And you just look for descriptive statistics. Okay, so we have here, let me just fix this one. Okay, so if you're going to see that, you have ANOVA, we have correlation, we have covariance, we have descriptive stats. So what we need is actually descriptive statistics. So you just click OK. Okay, and a new window will actually pop up. Okay, so let me just have it. Yeah. Okay, so we have another pop-out window. Then we have their input range. So we need to um, enter the input range that we wanted to describe. Okay, so I think we can have age, sex, and grit score. So for this one, you have their labels in first row. You can check this one, then have the labels included in the input range that you're going to select. So we have check this one, and you go back with input range. Then let's have age, sex, and grit score. Okay, now we already have. So don't forget that they are grouped by columns or by column. That's why we have 3 columns there. Then let's have output range. So it's your choice whether what type or where you are going to insert your output range, whether it's in the same sheet or a new worksheet. So the Excel will be giving you another worksheet or a new workbook. If you wanted to work separately, you just have your data in one Excel workbook, then the results will be on another Excel workbook. But I will be having the output range in the same worksheet so that we can actually check the values there. Then you can just have, and you click this one, make sure that everything is in there. You can check summary statistics so that it will give you summary of everything that you're going everything that you wanted to know. So for this, the basics that it will give you will be mean, median, mode, standard deviation, and range. Okay, so just click OK. And oh, it contains non-numeric data. So, okay. So, let us just choose age and grit score. Okay. So, let's just try age first. Yeah. So, we have here age. Okay. So, if you're going to interpret this type of data, you can have the mean. So, let me just highlight it. So, you have the mean. You already have the median and the mode. It means that the mean is the average, right? So, if you're going to describe a data, the mean is the most reliable measure of central tendency that you can use because it is not easily affected by outliers. When we say outliers, these are data or these are scores. We call each element in a data set scores, even though it's not really the typical score that we know. So, we call it as a score of these are scores that are extremely high or these are scores that are extremely low. Now, we also have the median. So, the median is the center or the middle score. So, you will arrange the data from highest to lowest. Then, the one that is in the middle will be your median. So, by the way, we have here an odd number data. So, that's why this odd number data means that there is one central score or that there is one median. But if in case that you have an even number of data, it means that you will get the average of the two middlemost scores. But in this case, it is 17. Now, the mode or the popularity score is actually 17. Next, so we have standard deviation. Standard deviation is the dispersion of the score with respect to the mean. Now, it is said there that it is 0.55 or 0.56 rather. So technically it is 0.56 units away from the mean. So the scores are 0.56. The average distance from the mean is 0.56. So we have sample variance. Kurtosis and skewness is for the test of normality. So you can use this if you wanted to know whether your scores are normally distributed or not. So we also have the range. So the range is 2. Range is computed as highest score minus lowest score. So let's see, our highest score is 18 and our lowest score is 16. So 18 minus 16 is actually 2. You have the minimum is 16, the minimum age, and the maximum is 18. The sum of all the ages is 433 and the count is 25. So you can also have the count as the sample size. So let's have another example. A while ago, we cannot have 6. So that's why we can have another one, which is the grit score. So you can just have descriptive statistics and it will give you another window. So let's have grit score naman. So let's have grit score. So you just have, I think, yan, kasama natin si label. We include the label and that's it. So let's have another output because it will overwrite the output that we have a while ago. So you can have that. Then click OK. Okay, so now we have grit score. So let's interpret it. So we have the mean is 3.478. By the way, the grit score is a scale that ranges from 1 to 5 actually. So the larger the grit score, of course the larger your grit is, or the larger the possibility of being successful with your future goals or pursuing your future goals. So 3.478, I think it's a good score already. So you have the median is 3.5, the mode is 3.5. So as you can see, actually both data, they can be considered normal data already. Why? Because if the mean is equal to the median and is equal to the mode, somehow that is a normally distributed data. Same goes with this one. Okay, a normal distribution is the one that we actually want because it describes the population. So if your sample is more likely similar to your population, which is a normal data, therefore your sample is a good representation of your population. Now we also have standard deviation. So your standard deviation is 0.64 or 0.67 rather. So 0.67 means that the scores are averagely, so average naman, 0.67 units away from the mean. Now we have, ayan, meron tayong kurtosis and skewness. This is negatively skewed. This is positively skewed. Pero napaka-minimal lang. So you have range. The range is highest score minus lowest score. Let's have this one. So you have, when you subtract 4.63 and 2.25, so you subtract 2.25 from 4.63, it will give you 2.38, and the sum and the count. So the sample size is also 25. See? So you can always use Excel in creating or in computing for your measures of central tendency and measures of variability. And actually, you can also have normality test or test of normality for normal distribution. Now, why do we need to have descriptive statistics in our research cases or in our research papers? Of course, in qualitative research, numbers are very important. So, unlike qualitative, if you already have your qualitative research before, it's very different. So qualitative is more of more of words description. So you don't actually need numbers to describe your data because it is a more in-depth explanation of a phenomena, of a situation. While when you have quantitative research design, you need numbers to explain your thoughts, to explain your population, to describe your population. Okay, so in this case, you need to describe your population. Okay, as I've always mentioned with my students before, it's very important to establish first your population and your sample. So you describe them using numbers. For example, in this case, if you're going to have an interpretation with this one, you can write it as, so let me just have a sample interpretation. Can have it as the mean age of the respondents is, it's 7.32, right? 17.32 with a standard deviation of 0.56. So remember that if you're going to report your mean, it should always be backed up with your standard deviation. Why? So if you're gonna ask me why, it's because the mean can stand on its own. It's just that when you have the standard deviation, you know how the scores are spread, because there comes a time that there is this set of data that has the same mean but different standard deviation. So it will be, what do you call this? It will actually explain to you what type of data is that, or how spread the scores are. The larger the spread, actually, the more heterogeneous the data is. If it is smaller, the standard deviation is smaller. Therefore, the scores are actually closer to each other. That's why we really need to explain, or we really need to report the mean age, the mean and the standard deviation in pairs. Yeah. So don't ever forget to have the standard deviation. It's very important. So if you're gonna ask me what are the things that you need to report, actually you just need 3 things in descriptive stats for population and sample. You can have the mean, the standard deviation, and your sample size. So you need to report them when it comes to your chapter 4. So you don't need to report anything in chapter 3. It's just more likely it's the preview of your experiment or your data collection procedure. But when it comes to chapter 4, you need to present tables. You need to present your data. You need to describe your data first. So that's why descriptive statistics is the first thing that you really need to know before you proceed to other statistical tests. Okay, so I think that's it for today's video. I hope that you learned something from me, and if in case you have questions, you can just comment and I'll try to respond as quickly as possible. But I'll be uploading, I'll be giving you the link for this sample Excel file. And good luck with your research papers. And this is online class, so I hope that this video will be helpful for you. That's it. Goodbye. I'll see you on the next video.